Welcome, Cheeseheads. Here we are on a Friday evening in the UK time, here with a couple of esteemed guests, but unfortunately we are missing our key esteemed leader. Caller is having a bit of a problem and is unable to join us. So the three of us, my friends Stuart and Cameron, are going to be winging it a little bit since Caller was the host. And so we are going to be playing a little bit by ear. So I hope the audience out there will be kind to us, and I'm having some internet issues, so this thing may go tits up right from the beginning. Anyway, but we're here to preview a new fixture for most of us. We've got a trip to Kenilworth Road for the first early game for me here in America. That'll be a 7:30 a.m. start. Cameron, who is our wonderful friend from down under, down in Ausland. I don't have any idea what time. That's a night game for you guys, right?
That'll be 10 a.m. So daylight savings just hit. It would have been 9:30 a.m. As of probably a week and a bit ago, but now it's 10:30 p.m. Saturday night.
Oh well, that's how nice for you, isn't that?
No problem. I've got a 50th to go to tonight, so it might time well after a couple of drinks and getting home.
That's fantastic. That's right. Stuart.
Yeah, it's a nice lunchtime kickoff for me. I'll have my sandwiches and my crisps ready to watch it on TNT Sport, nice and relaxed.
That's fantastic. So, well, what's interesting about this is, I don't know. I've certainly never been to Kenilworth Road. That's for sure. I doubt either of you have been there. And this will be the first meeting at Kenilworth Road in the league, anyway, since 1992, and it was a stupendous 0-0 draw. So hopefully we won't have anything similar to that. Hopefully we'll. In fact, the last time we beat them in the league was 1989. It was a 3-1 win. Do you have any idea of 1989? You Spurs fans out there, feel free to put it in the chat. Who possibly could have been the scorers in that 3-1 victory at Luton? Stuart, I'll give you a guess who you might think would have been on that 89 team that could have gotten the ball in the net.
89. Oh, I'm just going to say Hoddle. Maybe that's a bit too late for him.
There was an H. There was this goal scorer that starts with H, but it's
last
generation. Nope.
Oh.
Cameron, any guesses?
No, I'm actually thinking as well. Not that I was.
Yep. John comes in, of course, with Walsh. That's correct. Gaza, that's correct, and he is correct. Howells. So our esteemed operational leader in the background, John has gotten us off to the start. All right. So what are you guys thinking? I think the best place to start, of course, Stuart, is really what we're facing with a lineup. How do you see? I mean, we'll get into how Luton plays, but what are you thinking when it comes to what you expect? I'd like to have you tell us what you expect to see and anything different that you might see coming up.
I think we will start with the same starting 11 that we did with against Liverpool. I think we caused enough problems in that game to warrant that, and I think injuries are going to drive that anyway. So I'm expecting, Son to start in the middle, Richarlison out on the left again, Kulusevski just doing what he's been doing, and then everything else just seems to operate as normal at the moment, barring injury, with the midfield and the back line. So I'm expecting a same 11 from my perspective.
What do you think, Cameron?
I think it's going to. I agree with Stuart. I think it's going to be the same lineup as well, and historically does like a settled lineup as well. But as I mentioned prior to the show starting, and when I woke up before, I watched Ange's interview, and he mentioned that the Madisons, the Suns, and whoever else had an injury cloud will likely play. He did mention Gio, though. So I got this feeling, in a perfect world, if we were to knock them out pretty quickly, he'll probably change a bit of the team up because he probably wants to preserve the Suns and the Madisons and whoever else is under a cloud there. So I think we'll start, but I do think he'll change the team up probably earlier than I think, maybe 50, 60 minutes, 60th minute. I do see that coming. I hope Gio comes on from what Anne just said last night, which would be your daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with you guys that the lineup is gonna be. I would be fairly surprised if it isn't, unless there's a, something that happens between the presser and in the warm ups and that sort of stuff. Somebody slips in the bathroom. I think we're probably going to see this as a lineup. The question I would ask you guys is, is there, if you were going to make any changes, given the thinness that we now have, the injuries we lost across the front line, and you're trying to have a situation where you had a few more options off the bench, because this, as Kevin has said, and King Hoddle saying, the bench is a bit of an issue and it doesn't really offer a lot of changes that you can make. How would you adjust the starting lineup, Cameron?
That's a good question, because I noticed against Liverpool, depth was our issue. With Johnson out, with Adrian's put up the list of substitutes there. The question is, with those list of substitutes, and I have not seen, is Skipp's, is he injured? I don't know, because I must admit I have to know what the injury list is like at the moment. I know that obviously Hill's coming back. I would want to know. Look, I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the mini match down here. Højbjerg would probably come and be. He's not up front, so you would. I don't know. Probably Kulusevski coming in more centrally, or Richarlison. But I don't know where we're at with Gio, in the sense that
I don't think he's ready for tomorrow. The question I've had is, if you wanted to change something up, could you bring Porro into Kulu's spot, bring Emerson into right back, and then Kulu's on the bench and is able to come in, and because he can play multiple positions, particularly he can come in at the 8 if you need him.
Yeah.
Could you see that happening? And whether that, I mean, you hate to lose Porro, attacking ability against a packed-in defense. You need someone to get down to, but if you bring him in and play him up right, you need someone who's going to get down the line, cross it back, because you're going to have to go against a packed-in defense. So that's the only thought I had. How big a loss do you think, Stuart, in your mind, is now that we know that Solomon did his meniscus, which, again, another injury that I can attest to. I had meniscus repair surgery this past June myself. Very familiar. It's a pretty easy one to come back from. How big a loss did you have of that in your mind?
I think it's obviously disappointing for him, because he was starting to sort of build his sort of place in the team, and obviously that's going to be a setback for him now, and it 100% opens the door for Bryan Gil, because they're very similar players in terms of profile and stuff. And I think now that we know it's going to be 3 to 4 months, I think they've said that he's going to be out, then touch wood, and if Bryan Gil's going to stay fit, then he's got a great opportunity to really go for it. And I think that's where potentially, if people like Son, because I've heard, there was the talk this week that Son's been effectively playing with a groin issue, that they're effectively managing his, training and stuff. He's not fully training. He's just sort of, they're managing it to the point, a bit Ledley King-esque, where they're just getting him ready for game day, and then he's just making it, which explains why he's getting to 70 minutes, and they're just like, no, get him off, which is good, because in times gone by, when it's players like, Kane or Son or other key players, they've just been played and overplayed in a way just to sort of try and get the result. Whereas I think Ange has got a lot more trust in other players on the bench and stuff like that to bring them on and try and do stuff. Whereas I think if this was Conte or someone like that, these players would be getting burnt out when they didn't need to. But I think it's more of an issue for Solomon in terms of him then having to come back into the team once he recovers from injury, because once Bryan Gil, I think, now gets ahead of him, and even people like Donnelly, I mean, I think if Donnelly gets an opportunity to play and does well, I think he's going to cement himself very, very quickly. So it'll all just be about who's going to be ahead of Solomon or not ahead of Solomon by the time he's back in 3-4 months. But he's almost going to come back at the right time when we're post Christmas, going into FA Cup games like that. So it could work out well for him in that sense. But it's that part of the pitch that I think we're actually most covered in at the moment. I'm less concerned about losing people like Perisic and Solomon when we've got some of the other players in the squad that we can call on.
And I want to announce that we have just had a super sub enter the game.
Devo.
Hello, how are we?
We're good.
Doing fine. We're doing fine. We're flying by the seat of our pants. We got some dodgy internet. We got a missing host, and to the rescue to help save us is our esteemed leader of our Friday night show, Mr. Dave. Thank you for joining. I know it's quite early in the morning, so that's awfully. I will note that in the report that we file with the Cheese Room Board of Directors and the sacrifices that you're making.
That's very kind of you. Lovely to see everybody. I may have to mute myself from time to time and do maybe some guest appearances in the background. And you might get some South London drill on at some point, which again I'll mute myself at that point as well. But lovely to see everyone.
Cheers for coming on, David.
Pleasure.
So we're on the topic of that in your run sheet that we're trying to stay faithful to. Although we skipped we went past the quiz stuff pretty quick, and we're on the topic of Solomon and how much of a loss he is. And I want everyone's thoughts on this, is whether or not with Hill coming back, is that really a big deal? Is he always better than Solomon? Because I'm not sure I subscribe to this theory that that's actually true. But what are your thoughts, Hill versus Solomon?
For me, Hill versus Solomon.
Yeah.
Now there's a question. I have quite literally got out of bed, and so therefore, so Solomon. Some people have been saying that they remind them a little bit of Aaron Lennon. I am going back, obviously, in an obscure time about 20 years ago. So I'm sorry about this to go back to the 90s already. That's right. In 92, 93, we had Paul Allen, who normally played on the right or in the middle, played left midfield. He's right-footed. Because Darren Anderson, that's his first season, he played on the right. Paul Allen on that left side of the midfield scurried around a lot, did a lot of work, but not a huge amount of output. And of what I've seen of Manor so far, that's what I feel about him. I haven't seen much to be excited about. I know I've only just woken up, but I do have that feeling that he's one of those opportunistic free signings that our owners love so very much, and is there to take Mora's place in the squad. So that's him. For those who may have heard me talk about Bryan Gil for the last 2 to 3 years, although on the one hand, 25 million, but facilitating the ending of Coco Lamella's Tottenham career is always going to be a great thing. I have always thought that, particularly when he came on against Frankfurt in the Champions League, he looked like some kind of Spanish primary school competition winner to get 15 free minutes at the Champions League, and he didn't play to that much effect. However, the irony is, I thought his best game in a Spurs shirt was Palace away last season. And that slide pass rule that he did to Harry Kane for his goal was excellent, and reminded us just slightly of David Silva, who I think even the C word that we're not allowed to say, that coach said that he thought he could become like. So, we are looking at Ange's restorative powers, if that's the right word. Bloody hell, I am asleep. And he makes something out of Hill would be great, because as you just alluded to, we're running out of players who can play on the left side. I think Perisic is a big blow. I saw something that he might be going back to hijack split in January. I think from Richarlison's point of view, being the prolific goal scorer that Richarlison is, if you put a pie chart up of who's assisted Richarlison the most in his Tottenham career, I reckon Perisic would be the greatest pie because he's a great cross of the ball, great set piece, and Richarlison's strengths, well, one of them is in the air. Yeah. How's that start? So 15 minutes after getting out of bed.
That is outstanding. I want to just golf clap.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. I'm going to mute myself from time to time in case of any background noise, but I am listening, to be clear.
That's quite all right. Yeah, so I think the consensus, Dave, which you missed, is that we all believe that we're going to get the same 11 as we got last time out. That we're not going to see any changes. We're just trying to speculate a little bit as to if you were going to make some changes because the bench is basically a bunch of kids and defenders. Could you make any substitutions? And the only one that we really came up with is Porro up the right, bring Kulu to the bench, and bring Emerson at right back. And that might be what you need against a packed defense, because this is what we're facing, right? And every Spurs fan should be absolutely terrified at the prospects of what could happen Saturday. Because if we win, we go top. Even though it's only match week 8, we go top. And we all know, we've all been well prepared for what happens when Spurs can make some sort of statement, some sort of result that would announce that they may be for real. This is one of those. And I think that I've already seen some comments. Here's one. There's already people are starting to think what's going to happen. And this person's thinking that they might be there for the taking, because Luton is actually outside of the drop zone. But not by much, of course. But they have a decently well drilled side. Is any one of you? I've got some information on the team, although I've barely seen them play. I tried to do a little research. Cameron, are you familiar at all with what Luton brings to the table?
Not too much, but I do know they don't play behind the ball. I do know they play a pretty open game. Now, whether they do that against us is a big question mark, knowing that we're a highly attacking side. I have done a little bit of reading up, so I know that they're pretty they're daring, but in terms of where they are on the table, I do have a feeling they'll be playing pretty much walls to the goal. Well, setting up a defensive wall, because we're going to have most of the possession. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I would expect that to be the case. This is the team and the results from the Everton win, their only win of the season. They got goals from their center forward Morris, and then their center back. What I listened to someone actually on another show as a Luton supporter talk about the team a little bit, and they play a 3-4-2-1, but it really is going to look a lot more like a 5-3-2. And they've got a lot of injuries, particularly to their midfield. That they are a little thin. In fact, this guy Pele Ruddock here. Anyone know what's unique about this guy?
No. No.
He's actually, I think this is true. He actually he's the only player still from when they were non-league, and I think it's the only player to stay with the club from non-league all the way up to the first division, or at least to the Premier League. I can't speak to the first division. I think that I didn't Google that, but I'm pretty sure I caught that correctly. So this Ruddock guy has actually been with them since 2013.
Wow, incredible.
I mean, if you really think about it, that's really in the story that is Luton, which is a fantastic story, to follow what they've done and how well run they are. In fact, to the point where they chose to, instead of buy a bunch of players, they're taking their Premier League money and investing in infrastructure, getting a stadium that they think they're going to have ready, I think, for 2026. So even if they go down, they're trying to prepare themselves financially to come back up. But this guy Ruddock has been with them with a good part of the run these last 10 years. So it's pretty remarkable, if I understand. So that's. But yeah, we're going to see a packed in back five, I think, and that's why I was thinking if you had if you didn't have Kulu and you had Porro going down the right hand side to cross back in the same way he created the glorious Matip finish. I thought that was that might be one change we could make. So, all right. Anyway, all right. What do you guys expect in terms? I'll start with you, Stuart. What are you expecting what do you think in terms of results for this match this weekend? Or do you have any? We're going to start with a score prediction early in the show. Want to get yours right now. What are you calling for a score prediction?
I'm going to go for 3-0. I think like it was Cam who mentioned it earlier in the show. I think that I think we'll go for it. I think we'll be quite aggressive and try and sort of get some early goals and try and get to a point where we can sort of go into the early part of the second half and make bring off the likes of Son and Maddison and all these guys and see the game out. So I know I'm fully expecting that Luton are going to, as you say, they're going to set up quite deep and make it very hard to break us down, because we've had 2 games now against Sheffield United and then Liverpool where when teams have done that, we have struggled. We have, we've obviously got the result in the end, but we have found it very, very hard to do that. So I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0. Okay. All right. I can go with that. I'm terrified to actually even make a prediction, quite frankly. I don't even want
to. You have to. It's the nature of the program. You got to be terrified. That's all we got to do.
I mean, these are the games that you almost don't want to wake up for at 7:30 in the morning here.
You love it. You love it.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, no. I mean, in all seriousness. Well, I mean, it's one of these things. I'm conditioned for these games where you face a packed-in defense. If you think about the way the Sheffield game went, and the when Liverpool's down to 9, and you just see the ball moving around the formation and can't seem to get through a packed defense. These are the games that just drive me crazy, because all it takes is one ball over the top. I mean, they've got some good subs. I think Morris is not a bad player, but neither is it Adi. I always want to say it's not Adibior, but I can't remember the sub that I saw play. He's actually a pretty good player. So I'd just take a 1. I'm with Jeff here. I'd take a 1-0 win, quite frankly. So I thought what would be a nice thing is let's take a quick break for a second, and before we finish our predictions, are there any other matches this weekend that are driving your interest to want to watch? Any other particular games are appealing to you guys?
Would you like Cam and mine's predictions as well on the Tottenham game?
We're going to come back. We're going to come back to that. No, we're going to come back.
All right, okay. Sorry, we're in your hands. I do apologise.
We're going to skip around. We're going to skip around.
Oh, hello. We're going spontaneous. I love it.
This is the fixture. We're winging this show tonight since we're just covering.
All good.
This is our fixture list, it looks like, for the weekend. So is there any other game that jumps out at you?
Burnley, Chelsea.
Oh, yeah.
Why does it jump out at you?
Well, I think because Burnley will give them a game as usual. I think because Burnley aren't a bad team, they're just not getting results. So I think and it all just depends on if they can rattle Chelsea early on. I think that won't be as easy a game as I think a lot of people are expecting for Chelsea on that one.
I wouldn't mind West Ham Newcastle. I think that could be a decent game if West Ham show up.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I like West Ham a lot. They're playing at home. Newcastle's coming off a very, very high experience in their thrashing of PSG, a poor PSG side coming down to London. I don't bet, and if I had access, I would consider though putting some money on West Ham. I think that's a very tough game for Newcastle. I'm really curious about Richo63 here, because here's someone who's either got a great sense of sarcasm or he finds 0-0 terrible football entertaining, because that's the one game that I would say avoid. Avoid.
Richo 63 is I would call him he's an honorary cheesehead because he is a regular watcher of our amazing content, and he is an Everton fan, and for some reason he enjoys he is an Everton fan, and I've always got respect for Everton fans apart from that bloody semi-final in '95, because we know what it's like to be in the city where at times we are in the shadow of our neighbours, and Everton as a club seem to take adversity and defeat and rather better than their rivals. So I'm looking forward to Brighton and Liverpool, and I just like to make a plea here now to all the Brighton fans that I hope that they respect the minute silence that are going to be held before that game for Diaz's disallowed goal. I think it's a time for the football family to come together and be there for Jurgen Klopp. Okay.
Yeah. Well said, Davo.
The other big game, of course, is Arsenal.
Yeah, I think I was going to say, I think that I was reading that Everton will be wearing black armbands for the VAR. I was wondering if we were going to get away a whole show without visiting that, but I guess not. No, that was that would be a stupendous result. I think that would be the height of irony. I really do like Everton as a club. I feel terrible for their fans. This dodgy takeover with the American private equity group is looking worse and worse and worse by the day.
Yeah.
And I really feel for Everton fans. There's a kindred spirit. I feel almost that if it weren't for the great leadership of our esteemed ownership, we could be Everton, right, Dave?
You've rolled out the old fishing line of things could be, and things could be so much worse. We could be taken over by the Albanian communist government, and we'd all have to eat parsnips at half-time. Line.
I mean, I'll tell you though, it's pretty uncharitable for you to come on and try and help save the show, and then I'm gonna throw out a line like that for you. It's pretty uncharitable of me.
Mate, I've got something for you shortly, but we'll get to it in a minute. Don't worry.
Yeah. So no doubt about that.
My hope is that Arsenal and Man City are going to draw, because that would be perfect for us. Both had Arsenal obviously lost in the week. They've potentially lost Saka as well. I haven't seen any news on that. Has anyone seen any news today from Team News on Saka?
I've got him in my fantasy, and I've noticed that he looks like he's promising to play, as in looks likely he will play from what Arteta says. Whether that's believable or not, but rumours are he will be a starter.
All right, okay. Yeah, that should be a very entertaining game. But we've got to win. If we win, then the pressure's on the two of them, which is what we need to be doing, putting the pressure onto them.
Oh yeah.
And then
I think that's obviously, you're right. The game of the weekend is clearly the Arsenal Man City game, and so I thought it would be. We'll go ahead and take predictions on this game later with all the fixtures, but there's clearly that's the match, and if Saka is going to play, I was thinking he was out, so I've been busy today. I was thinking from what I heard yesterday he was not going to be available, but if he actually plays and is effective, I give Arsenal a shot at this with Rodri out, because Man City seem to only lose when Rodri's out.
Is there any FA? We're coming into an international break, right? There's no cup games or anything after that? Is that correct? Besides just internationals?
Yeah.
Then he'll play.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to want to. I mean, he's not going to want to miss it if he can limp onto the field. He's not going to want to miss it. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yeah, I think Saka is an absolutely fantastic player. And my only hope for him is Madrid or City buy him, because he's bloody good. He's a bloody good player.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, I mean, I actually like him enough to not hate him.
Yes.
I mean, to be honest with you. I mean, unlike most Arsenal players, I don't actually despise him.
No, absolutely right. I think you are actually missing one game off off that for this weekend, Jack. And
Oh yeah, this has been
Jack.
John
It's
is.
well, no, I think he's missed what's going on in the North Carolina over 35s league this weekend. Who are you playing, Jack? What's your game this weekend? Because we know you play every weekend.
Yes.
Who are you playing this weekend?
Yes. Yeah, we're playing a club called North Carolina 50.
Right.
So since we're over 50 league, and they are the nifty 50 as they are known.
Right.
So we play them at noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.
Right.
So,
and as you likened your playing style to Michael Dawson the last time we were on a show together, how will the impactfulness of your Michael Dawson style have an impact on the game? How do you see things going for yourself?
Well, I'm gonna have to do a Scooby Doo and then put on my Cootie Romero costume to have us have a chance of keeping this team out. They got a lot of high-powered forwards and good midfielders, and I'm going to be patrolling the center of the park, and I'm gonna have to shed that Dawson persona and jump out with Romero type tackles. I would love to be Van de Ven, but I couldn't. He could walk faster than I can sprint. So.
And so my final question on this before we move on is does the coach of your team, has he made you part of the leadership group?
No, I am not part of the leadership group. And
why is that?
Because the manager tends to like whinging bitches instead of true leaders like myself.
There you go. So much could be said, but one cannot say anything. So we're in your good hands. You can move as this is your show. We move on.
So I saw this comment someone starred earlier, right? I thought it was interesting. I'm not familiar with James. I know that we are our own show. When was JP calling for Ange? About February of this year? Is that correct? I know.
Yeah.
Just to be clear.
He's calling for Hills in the perfect system. So I hope he's right, because he's going to get a lot of time with Solomon out. He's going to get a lot of time between now and January, I think. So I hope he's right.
Yeah. I think the thing with Bryan Gil is that, especially when he's been at Spurs, he's either picked up injury or he's just not been used. And I think it's just been that bad combination of when he has been here, getting injuries at the wrong time, and then never been able to force his way into any kind of form or regular starts or even appearances before being shipped out on loan. So I would just love the guy to be fit and then at the club for a period of time where he can actually try and build up some kind of momentum, because he's never really had it since he's come in. So,
well, he had Antonio Conte just stop him pretty much in his tracks.
Yeah.
But Gil needs time. Let's be honest. Like, he hasn't really had the continuity since he's been at the club, or he's been loaned out. And I agree with James that it could work. It can work under the Ange system, but he just needs that time and continuity, opportunity. Good things will happen. I believe that. He's a talented kid. Yeah, is he undersized? Yeah, probably. But Ange has used in his time over the years probably undersized players, and they've been a success. So we need to give him the opportunity. Otherwise, we've wasted that 25 million within that range that Dave is very speculative about.
Plus a tenner for the Mena. Don't forget.
Well, I saw a comment earlier about hope there isn't a strong wind on the day that Hill plays. But the reality is that you don't have to be. It's how you position your body. I mean, I don't know. I've never stood next to Julian Alvarez, but if you look at him against the other players and you look at what they report is, this is not a big person, right? Same as Silva, not a big person. Modric, not a big guy, right? It's all about you. It's all about your ability of using what you've got and positioning your body in a way to either draw fouls, still shield players off, and he's quick enough to get away from most people. So I'm really excited now that he might get an opportunity, because I've always liked him. I thought he's always had promise. The problem was he was just blown off the ball too easy too many times. So if you can fix that, he can learn how to position his body so that he either takes the foul or holds the defender off better. I think he could actually be extremely useful. So let's hope that is the case. Like Jeff is saying, if you can learn to use a low center of balance, I mean, it's a critically good thing to have in your locker to be able to position your body that way.
The way
or as King Hoddle put it, if you're a short ass, you can still be strong as an ox. There you go.
Yeah. The thing is with Bryan Gil, though, is that I think we don't have that many. And I thought I was expecting to see more of this from Solomon, and we may well have done if he hadn't got injured. Was that we need people that are going to directly run into the box, and we don't really have that right now. We've got people who are getting to the box, and then they're either crossing it, squaring it into the centre, or recycling it, or whatever. And I think Bryan Gil is one of those players who. I think Ange will be, if he comes into the team, will say, just go and run into the box, because he's got the quick movement where he can take a couple of players on, and then someone will most likely draw a foul or a penalty or something like that. And I think that's what we're lacking at the moment. And I think Johnson is the same, is that he was someone who's quite comfortable at driving into the box. And it's just a shame that, we're not seeing much of them at the moment. But I do think that's something that we will see more of as time goes on, because that's something that Celtic did a lot over with Ange from what I've seen, the games I'd seen.
Yeah, and one thing he does offer is if you play him on the left, he has the ability to get down to the line and cut it back and bring it in to where Son's going to be filling those spaces, and we just don't have enough of that through the first 7 matches. Again, I keep citing Porro. I mean, if he doesn't go to the line and whip it in, we don't get the own goal. We don't get the 3 points against Liverpool. And you've got to sometimes just, slam the ball in there, and that's when you get the bounces sometimes. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Let's go back, Dave. We have a match tomorrow, and we are all glad you're here, because I was actually going to reach out to you if you hadn't come on the show just to get your prediction. And so now that you're here, you can give it in person.
Thank you very much. I'm about to give my prediction. And basically, it's going to be we're going to win 3-1. And we'll obviously let in a goal, because we always do. And I think the last time we won there was 1989. And we won 3-1. And so Gazza scored the 3rd goal, weaved through the defence, and he scored. And then he lay on his back on the AstroTurf pitch at the time, which is what Luton were playing. And then Chrissy Ward came over and stamped on his chest playfully in celebration. So I'm looking for Madders to do that, and then lies on his back, and then Son stamps on his chest. As the crowd, or the 200 away fans that probably got tickets, jump up and down in celebration. Or limbs, as the kids call it these days. I've not heard that expression until this season. Limbs.
Yeah.
I heard the way, because of the changes that they made to the stadium, where they ripped out all of these luxury boxes, put a new stand in. The away fans will be crammed in the corner with very obstructed views. So I hope those, it's 1,000 away 1,000 away tickets. I'll be interested to see what people have to say who actually go. I don't know that any of our lot are going to get in, because I can't imagine the loyalty points or whatever that you have to get one of those tickets. But it'll be interesting to see what they say about the experience. 3-1.
What's the capacity?
3-1.
So what's the capacity of Kenilworth Road overall?
About 11,000.
12. Yeah, 12,000.
Yeah, I think it's the smallest. Is it the smallest stadium in the league now, behind Bournemouth?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of the biggest outdoor gathering that Melbourne's ever had. So
Here we go. Yeah.
I'd say. Stuart, have you ever been to Kenilworth Road?
No, I don't. I can't get to away games.
No, but I mean ever. I mean, like, they were in the old first. Okay.
No.
Okay.
The only thing I know is that you go through someone's back garden or something to get in.
Yeah, I mean, I went obviously in the 80s when they had away fans were banned from Kenilworth Road for a number of years because there was a big riot in the cup against that lovely lot from Millwall. So they banned. So the chairman of Luton was a Tory MP who absolutely loved Maggie Thatcher, who hated football, and so basically they had away fans banned. So I used to go to school next county down, and I went in '87 when Pleat went back. So we nicked Pleat from Luton and became our manager, and obviously they were very upset about it. And then we nicked Mitchell Thomas from Luton as well, which I was very upset about because he was crap. And so we went back there and we played a very hostile atmosphere, and there's no fans whatsoever. So we, in '87 or '88, I'm sure we scored 1 goal, and I couldn't celebrate whatsoever. I would have been kicked out, and I got an ID card from someone I went to school with. So it was very hostile. They had a good team 40 odd years ago, the Steen brothers and things like that. All of these things for Cam and Jack, that's just probably a foreign language, maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing, they haven't actually been, they've not been spanked yet, which is interesting. It's all been like a 2-1, 1-0, a draw. So
no, they've been in every match.
Yeah.
Well, they lost 3-0 to Chelsea. But it wasn't as lopsided as it was.
Brighton as well, but that was on the first day. Yeah.
Who have they played of note? Have they played the Cities or the Arsenals yet, or anyone?
I think Chelsea's the biggest team they've played.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I watched the second half with Burnley. Burnley played them. They took it to them strongly, from what I understand, through the first half, and then in the second half, Luton really did come on and was putting a lot of pressure on, and they were playing in Burnley's half, and they just switched off. They get the equalizer late in the 85th, and then literally from the kickoff, just kind of ball down the left side, switch over to the right to their right winger. He is one-on-one. He just pushes it to his left the way Sonny would do, takes a shot from 25, hits the upper 90. And they lose 2-1. That was a 6-pointer for Luton, and that's a game that they can't afford to lose. So that was unfortunate. But I was actually kind of impressed with some of their abilities. I mean, they're not a great side, but they're not someone that, you're right, we can just simply walk in there, expect to win 6-0.
Yeah, I think if we go in there with the wrong attitude, which is the mistake we've made a lot of times when, like you were saying earlier on in the show, Jack, around when we're in a position where, because this has happened so many times, where we've been in a position where, whether it's to consolidate, like getting into the top 4, to do X, Y, or Z, when we've got an important opportunity to take a primary position, and it generally happens when we're playing a lower team as well, that we don't take that team seriously and we end up dropping points. So this will be another interesting test of, like, the way Ange operates, the way he's going to get the mentality into the players of, like, we can't take this lot with any disrespect and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it'll be definitely an interesting game. I'm hoping not as stressful as the last 2 Tottenham games, because that's not good for my heart or my blood pressure.
Dave, you said you have a 3-1 score. Did you say it's gonna be an own goal or a penalty kick that we give up?
I didn't say how we'd let in a goal, but I think I don't know. I think it probably be a calamity of errors. We'll go 1-0 down. So lunchtime kickoff means for us it'll be 11:30 at night, which is quite a good time to be watching a game.
10:30.
Is it 10:30? Yes, it's 10:30 at night, which is quite a good time. Unless I'm snoring on the couch by then, who knows? The couch behind me. So I reckon. I think who's up for a calamitous error these days? Not really anyone.
It's VDV, doesn't it, at the moment?
It really does. Knocking on wood. It is Vicario, who's been extremely strong. I mean, most of these shows I watch or participate in some way. I don't think we've talked a lot about Vicario, but he's the person who took a lot of flack as the signing that most people didn't want. He was a cheap signing. He was the one Levy signing of going after someone and not sure. And I had, well, I'm not. This is not actually a roundabout way of criticizing Dave here. It's actually just.
It's a direct way of criticizing Dave. Yeah.
No, it's stating fact. that the overwhelming fan base saw it as a cheap option, which it was true. He was less expensive than Raya, therefore he's the cheap option. All right, that's a factual statement. And I knew very little about him. I had never seen the guy play, and I'm not going to go on YouTube and watch a player and make some sort of conclusion about how good they are. And he looked a little dodgy, a little unsure of himself in a couple of preseason and that first Brentford game, right? But since then,
he's been incredible.
He's been fantastic. I think I can't imagine anyone who had any other opinion other than he has looked the part, and his enthusiasm, I think, is infectious. I mean, that's one of the things I like about this squad is you got Porro celebrating goals every time he makes a tackle. You have Vicario doing the same thing every time he's got a save. Romero is kicking people and hitting people and headbutting every time they make a good play, right? And even with against 9 men, we celebrate like we just won the league. I think the enthusiasm is, I'm not being sarcastic, I think it's a good thing, and I'm tired of I'm tired of the celebration police telling us, or any fan group, how they should or should not react to wins. It's ridiculous. It's
this is the ridiculousness of the whole tribalism in football now, in that all the stuff that was coming out past that game about how we celebrated the game and all that kind of stuff. You could literally just go and get exactly the same reaction from Liverpool to drawing a game in the last minute. It's just, that's what happens in football. You're going to celebrate getting something out of the game, whether you win it or you get a last minute draw or something. So, I don't know.
Didn't Liverpool line up and thank their fans when they drew against West Brom or something?
Yeah,
years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that was exactly it. That was the example that everyone sort of turned around to them, and it was the same with the Arsenal fans, going that we'd over celebrated, and then you just bring up the Bournemouth game, which they won in the last minute and celebrated like they won the league, but then bottled it. So it's all swings and roundabouts. The thing I'm actually quite nervous about, going back to Vicario, is he's been called up along with Udogie for the Italy senior team now. And I know Vicario wasn't used at all in the last round of internationals, but I'm absolutely terrified now that both those guys are going out on international break, because they're both so key to our back line. I just hope they don't play.
Is Vicario or number 2?
He's number 2. It's Donnarumma is the main guy, I think, thankfully.
The number 2 goalkeeper, just to be clear.
Yeah, the number 2 goalkeeper. Yeah, I'm less worried about our goalkeeping situation. Given the team photo yesterday shows that we've got 5 goalkeepers knocking around, and there's some kind of French vagrant who didn't have very good beard management in the picture.
So uncomfortable in that footage. He looks like he just doesn't want to be there, and I'm absolutely. I just do not understand why we've just not paid him off and just got him out. It just is such a weird situation.
And I'll be honest with you, it was sad, because I mean, this is someone who didn't end his career the way anyone, fan, coach, or himself would have wanted, and to watch what he was having to do in that media shoot, it's sad, because I mean, he put in a lot of great years for this club, and it's just kind of sad the way it's winding up, and he's never going to get any sort of real. I mean, maybe he will, but he's just not going to get the send off that you would have hoped that your captain, and again, people don't have different opinions, but I think as what he's done for the club over a decade, I thought was spectacular, and it's just a shame to see that. I was just amazed that he was there. Couldn't there have been some way that he could have worked his way out of that? I just don't understand it, but it's beyond my pay grade.
I'm certainly not against what he's done for the club. I just find the whole situation weird, where he's the one that's come out and said he wants to move on, and then he's effectively rejected numerous opportunities to move on. And then it's just, he's not even in match day squads. He's appearing very awkwardly around the place. And it's just a very weird situation. So I'm pretty sure something will happen in January.
I mean, he could have combed his beard at least. I mean, it looked very dishevelled. I mean, it reminded me of a beard that I was rocking a beard in the first lockdown, and sometimes you forget that beard management is a lot of work. Stuart, you could comment on that.
It is. I can attest to that.
Yeah. He just it's a shame.
Or even Bentancur has managed to have a shave now. You know, it seems like trimming his beard, the fitter it's getting, I've noticed. Because when he was like, early in his rehab, his beard was really long and dishevelled, and now he's getting more and more involved in training. He's actually trimming it a bit. So by the time he's fully fit, Bentancur might just be totally clean shaven, which would be weird.
Yeah, so that's a good comment from Ashwara. I think it would be, all joking aside, and I have made 3 jokes about his beard and looking like a vagrant. The fact of the matter is that, given the service that he's provided to the club, and it's to end it in a dressing room at halftime in Newcastle is not the way to finish off 10, 11 years of service. There are plenty of things that I could criticise about for his captaincy, but I think you also have to remember that he's been part of teams that has, although not delivered a trophy, given us great pleasure over a number of years, and for 10 years at that as well. So I do hope there is an opportunity. Levy should really pay him out from January, in my opinion, pay out the last 6 months of his contract, send him on his way. And then after that, he should, and then, be presented to the crowd in January as a farewell is the dignified and good way to do things. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think most Spurs fans would be behind that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so Cameron, we've got a 3-0. We've got a 3-1. What's your prediction for the match tomorrow?
In a perfect world, I was going 3-0 as well. I'd really like 3 early goals for the sake of then and preserving the team and getting the others to actually get more of a go on the field. Your Geos, even some of the youngsters, Valise. Whether that happens or not, that's my perfect world prediction. But yeah, I was hoping that, given we're going to have most of the ball here, I really was thinking there was an early knockout. So 3-0, maybe 4, and hopefully get your Geos, your Hills, and whoever else has been playing, getting them some time and continuity. Because Ange, to be honest, besides that Fulham game, he has made substitutions in the game, but we haven't really given too much time to a lot of the bench players because he's so dependent on the first team. So, yeah, I'm hoping for an early knockout, to be honest.
Right. Well, the drop-off between starter and bench player at this point, it couldn't be wider. Yeah. So it would be nice to have a good halftime lead, be able to play the starters another 15 minutes and then start rotating in. I would love to see Valise. I'd love to see Hill. I don't think Gio's ever going to be a player at Spurs ever, but he theoretically would fit into the system if he could ever stay fit. And personally, I'd love to see Donnelly get just a debut. I don't know if that on the road or rather you do that at home, but as long as we were having to bring the academy kids up, I'd love to see him be able to get some time, just because it's a big deal. It's a huge reward. Just getting on the bench for Donnelly last week was a huge deal, and it was a huge deal for his dad if he follows Twitter. So it's important that you show the academy that's obviously banging it right now that they have a pathway. If they work hard, that they'll get there. And that's very, very important, because I say, people always say, oh, now people are watching the under 21s. They're watching the academy more now, right? Because they're doing well. And they say, hey, they playing Ange ball. I was like, no, they're not playing Ange ball. The academy's always played Ange ball. We kept hiring managers that didn't play the way Tottenham played. So now we finally have a manager that plays the way that we've traditionally played and matches the academy. So it's much easier to bring these guys in and through, because that's the type of play and type of ball that they're playing in the U21s and other parts of the academy. So I'd love to see that. Love to see that happen.
Yeah.
All right. So I am going to I'll make my prediction, and I will give a 4-1 victory to Spurs.
Ooh, conceding a goal.
Yeah, I'm with Dave. We still have an error. We still have a penalty. We still have some sort of revenge of VAR. I had a really good discussion this morning on radio about what jobs would you rather do than be a VAR official on the City Arsenal match this weekend.
Well, it's more
they
Brighton,
they
Liverpool
told the
game.
audience to tweet in. Yeah, they said that they asked the audience to tweet in their responses as to what. And I sent mine in, and I said I'd rather be a Mexico City sewage diver than be on the VAR in that game. That the pressure would be insane. But somehow I feel like the karma's I think somebody called it Varma earlier, right? It's going to come back around. They'll get a goal. But we do also have to, as is typical of our Friday show, we have the important part of everyone's going to have to go through and give us their predictions.
Mm-hmm.
So let's run through this to close out our show. Thank you all, 132 of you who are watching. We really, really appreciate it. Please hit that like button and notice the banner at the bottom. The Patreon group has a lot of great benefits. In fact, today I saw a great one with tickets in short supply. One of our patrons said, hey, I'm going to list my ticket for, I think it was Fulham. He said on the exchange on Monday, but I'm giving a cheese room discount to anyone. We have our own private ticket share on our Slack chats. And we have lots of merch and contests and great conversation going globally 24/7 and £3 a month. So please check us out over there. So we've got our predictions for Luton Spurs done. All right, Dave, I'll take your Chelsea at Burnley. Pochettino, can he continue to climb up out of the bottom half, or is he going to be stuck down there for another week?
No, I think Poch is worryingly looking like he's getting some green shoots of recovery out of that lot. And I think Burnley's problem is they're continuing to play about, they're playing like they are in the Championship, which are very much a possession-based game, and they haven't got the players and the defence to do that in this division. So I think Chelsea are going to win 3-1.
Stuart.
I'm going to go with a score draw on that one. I can't. Maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2. I think Burnley will get a point.
And Cameron.
Desmond for Burnley and Chelsea.
All right, I will go Chelsea 2-1. Then the high-powered match of the weekend. Everton hosting the Cherries. Davo, what you got?
Well, it's a long journey for the Cherries fans, all the way from the South Coast up to Merseyside. I think we should be aware of that in our thinking around it. I think that they lost at home to Luton last week. That's pretty bad, isn't it? So I fancy 2-2.
And Stuart.
I'm going to go a 2-1 Everton. I think they'll get a win.
Cameron?
2-1 Bournemouth.
Oh,
all right. I'm with you, Cameron. Everton, they go down. They are in serious trouble.
Everton's dysfunctional.
Yeah, they really are. And I thought Sean was the right coach to, save their bacon, but I just something's just rotting at the core there, unfortunately. I feel bad because I really like Everton. Sheffield United, the Blades are going to a listless Fulham team. What do you think, Dave?
I fancy Carlos Vinicius hat-trick. He's going to score from 2 yards on his left foot, 2 yards on his right foot, and a steering header to make the perfect hat-trick. It will be 3-2. Yeah, all 2 yards. It's got to be 2 yards. All 3-2.
All right, Stuart.
I'm going to go. I think Fulham will win like 2-0. I think Sheffield United are a bit of a mess at the minute.
I'll go Fulham 2-1.
All right, I'll take the exciting 1-1 draw. We have the inept team in Manchester hosting Brentford, a squad that does very well when they host team when they're at home, less so on the road. What do you think, David? You give Manchester United any chance of eking out a point here, or what do you think?
Well, to all those who were kind of making comment about people moaning about Vicario and the cheap option and loading up the gun to fire at Levy, I would point out there was those amongst the cheese room who were begging for the return of Christian Eriksen. We have to do it. Bring him home. Who'd want him now, really? And did he show up in the cup final? Another cup final? No. Just a little dig there. Sorry. I mean, Brentford are not looking good at all at the moment either. Obviously, losing Raya and Tony as well. I think it's actually been kicking in this season a bit more. I think United will win actually 2-1.
Stuart?
I've got a feeling this is going to be a draw because I think there's such a mounting sort of list of things going on behind the scenes at Man United. I think Onana obviously had a bit of another calamity, and he was another one that was getting linked with Tottenham. So I'm glad we dodged that bloody bullet. Yeah, I think it'll be another score draw. So I'm going to go 1-1 on that one.
Pressure's on at United. It'll be a 1-1 draw.
I think it will be even better than that. It'll be 0-0.
Ooh.
I don't think either one of those teams can score. All right, Crystal Palace coming off a high, another Hodgson masterclass at Old Trafford, hosting Nottingham Forest. Davo?
Yeah, I think we're going there in a few weeks, aren't we? Always a good place to go.
Eze's injured, by the way. Eze's out for 6 weeks.
Okay. Well, that that's typical. I fancy 2-1 Palace. Serge Aurier, though, of course, to get a goal.
But when he's crossing, though.
Yeah.
Yes, it's deflected off the fullback's arse into the goal, and he claims it. Yes.
Stuart, what you got?
I actually think Forest will win this one. They have actually they seem to be sort of building a little bit of momentum now. And I think, with Palace missing Eze, I think they're missing Elise as well still. I can't remember if Elise is fit or not. So, I'm going to go 2-1 Forest.
Cameron?
I will go, with those injuries out, I'll actually be the same as... Sure, I'll go 2-1 as well.
And we'll make it a threesome. 2-1 Forest.
Oh, threesome on a Friday.
Early for a threesome, isn't it?
I was going to say 8 a.m. here.
Yeah, settle down.
All right. The game that I will make sure that I do not watch because I don't think I can tolerate 2 hours of tears of the broadcasters and the pundits and of all the injustices and the discussion of a replay and the independent key incident match panel, whatever the hell that is, it says that Jota should not been sent off and all that other crap. And Brighton coming off their pounding that they've received at the hands of Villa, and then coming from behind midweek in against
Marseille.
Is it Rennes? Marseille. Yeah. Sorry. Marseille. So what do you think, David? This game's got a lot of drama in it. What do you think? Two very good footballing sides.
Yeah,
look, I mean, for Brighton, are there suspensions for? It's not Brighton, Liverpool.
Yeah, Jota and the bloke who Jones. So they're suspended. Diaz is receiving counselling. Hopefully, he'll be able to make it to the game. And I think that just I know I've done this to death, but just on the VAR officials things and stuff like that, I'm just wondering if they actually asked for their consent for the tapes to be released, because I don't know how many years we had VAR now, 2 to 3 years, and not once have the tapes been released. So if I was those guys, and we're all laughing at them and this, that, and the other, and I get all that, but if they were they ever asked, Liverpool, the first club to request for the tapes to be released, surprise, surprise. That's a bit of a pun on Cilla Black, which 2 people wouldn't get what I'm talking about.
Howard Webb, who runs VAR, said at the start of the season that they will do that.
Did he say that?
Yeah, they've said that they would. Like, I think the thing was that if it was requested, they would release.
Right. Did Howard Webb say at the start of the season, when it is requested by Liverpool, we will release? As night follows day, When the big German baby chucks his thing out the pram, he'll do it. Estupiñán is injured, I've noted, for my fantasy team, and therefore have replaced him with Matty Cash this season. So we'll get on a Villa shipping 5 goals in a minute. And so therefore, I think Liverpool are going to win this. I think Brighton has shown a little bit of signs of struggling to juggle between their commitments during the week.
Almost.
And as the whole footballing community is standing with Liverpool at the moment, I stand with them, and 3-0 Liverpool.
Oh, I think this is going to be a goal-laden game.
What do you think, Cameron?
I thought it was Stu.
Don't forget about me. I think it's going to be 3-2 Liverpool. I think it's going to be goals.
I'm going 2-1
Cameron.
Liverpool. 2-1 Liverpool.
Yep. I'll go 2-1 Liverpool.
Okay.
I don't think there's any chance they can lose this game. The game of, I think, going to be a very entertaining match, and I hope to be able to see it. That's West Ham hosting Newcastle. David, what do you got for this?
Yeah, I think it'll be. No, it does look like a very good game. I think that West Ham have started the season pretty brightly now. I see that some clubs are starting to sniff around Bowen as he's nearing. They're talking about contract talks for him. I think he's a really good player. I wish we'd signed him, not Stephen Bergwijn at the time. So I fancy a 3-2 West Ham. I'm seeing a lot of goals this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. This one's really hard because West Ham and Newcastle both played in the week. I think Newcastle could struggle a bit more because they played effectively their full starting 11 against PSG. I'm going to go West Ham win on this one. I think it'll be like 2-1, 3-2, something like that. But I'm going to go for a Hammers win, unfortunately.
Cameron?
I will go 3-3 draw.
All right, I'm going with a 2-1 West Ham win. We have a battle, a rivalry, a derby almost coming up here. Wolves hosting Aston Villa.
Midlands
derby.
Yeah, absolutely. Devo?
Okay, so I've gone to an in-room expert, and he's going 2-1 Villa. Pedro, who's getting assist? Pedro Neto's getting assists. There you go. Let's see.
I should start him on my fantasy team. Okay. Stuart?
I think this will be a score draw, 2-2.
And I'm going to Desmond as well.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take Wolves. They're good at home. I'll take them 2-1. A little bit of letdown from Aston Villa after the thrashing of Brighton. And then, of course, the game that will decide whether Tottenham stays top after they surprise us all with a victory at Kenilworth Road tomorrow. Dave, what do you got for Arsenal Man City?
It's going to be it's a tough one to call, actually, Arsenal City, because, as you said, Rodri is out. Doubts about Saka. A voice in our room is saying 0-0, but I'm going against the voice in our room. I'm going to go 2-2, and there will be a 15 minutes into extra time equaliser at the end. A dramatic effect by the goons, leaving Arteta to jump around like a whirling dervish.
I also think it's going to. Well, I hope and I think it's going to be a draw. So I'm going to go 1-1.
And I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal if Trossard or Martinelli are back on the other side. At home, I'm going to give them 2-1.
Does anyone remember the last time Arsenal even beat City?
Community Shield?
Oh, sorry, in the league.
in a game that matters.
Yeah, it's been years. I don't know, but they've done the double on Arsenal for at least the last 3 seasons, I think.
Excellent.
So
wanna
I will
draw.
not go against history, and I think City Wins. I'll give them 2-1.
And hello to Mother HG, who thinks we all want City to win. So I hope Mother HG is doing well.
Dave, your account is posted.
There we go. There you go. The Arsenal lost the last 15 games.
Your social media manager is working for you, even though you're on the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's all these burner accounts that I set up,
All right.
and then I don't get invited to the fans forum, you know.
That's right.
And Nihao, who's a host,
right.
I listen to his pods. Huge fan of his broadcasting work on 5 Live. Very sad.
Well, I appreciate, Dave. We've gone an hour and 15. I appreciate you coming on and helping us fill the huge void that Owen, the caller, had to leave. Unfortunately, we missed the man cave, and I hope everything is okay with the man cave these days. And Stuart, you've been a bright light for us. I really appreciate it. And
that's Dave. Davis, my halo.
It looks fantastic.
Have you sorted your halo out a bit more? Yeah, you have.
I like the halo.
Are you able to keep the halo?
I think it looks good, actually. I like that it's just below the line a little bit. I think that looks good. And then Cameron, what do you got planned for the day?
I've got a bit of assignment writing to do. I might go to the gym. No more footy left in the season down here in Melbourne, the Aussie rules. So, yeah, might head out. Weather's still a bit cold.
What course are you doing, Cameron, for your assignment?
Doing a mental health course. So,
yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Excellent. Very, very good. Excellent. Important. And Stuart, you're going to go to the gym tomorrow after the game?
I'm going to see how I feel in the morning because it was pretty brutal today. So yeah, it's always a case of.
Well, I'm glad you're sticking with it.
How he reacts at the moment. I feel all right.
Can I just ask Cameron a question? And all
right. Well,
sorry. Can I just ask Cameron a quick question? Very sorry. Now I've just moved in. I want to get cushions for my couch, right? And genuinely, yesterday I was thinking, I'd love to get a Union Jack cushion. Where do I get it from? Where did you get yours from?
That was given to me years ago from my sister, actually. I mean, she came back from the UK, funnily enough, but I'm sure they're around. I'll speak to her after the show. There's probably a few stores in Sydney that would sell something like that.
There's several stores in Sydney. You know that, Cameron. The vibrancy.
Several.
All the time.
It
was weird. I was genuinely thinking, I need to get some cushions for my couches. I'd like a Union Jack cushion, and there it is. It's called serendipity. Sorry, Jack.
All right. Well, it's important to let those things in. I mean, you can't miss it. All right, gentlemen. All right. You know how we go out. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.